Oh, hi. Good morning, Malcolm Nance.
Good morning.
So here's the thing about the disaster last night on CNN. As somebody said, he is obviously, they're scared. They're panicked.
Hmm.
As someone said, despite Russian hacking and all of it, they're obviously scared. And this is why, as terrifying as you are, and as much as you scared the bejesus out of us, you wouldn't, I think, be urging people to vote as much if you really think Russia could succeed in installing him again, right? I mean, I think you keep saying it over and over. If we come out, if we come out, and clearly they're scared, right? I mean, clearly allowing him to even do this means they know they're losing, despite all of the cheating they're doing, right?
Right. Let me tell you. Well, granted, Trump is scared. We know that just by the way that he's going around and tripling and quintupling down on his lies. I don't know if you saw the Washington Post analysis of that town hall last night,
Right.
which must have terrified him because it was obviously full of Antifa liberals. Every person that came in there and asked a question, including the guy who said he voted for Jill Stein and came out and was asking questions about black vote stuff. So he's obviously an Antifa liberal.
Yeah.
Trump, I don't think, has ever been confronted with these questions before. And by the end of today, he will claim it was all a setup because he is now terrified of the numbers.
Yeah.
The numbers that he has from Biden, I don't know. Remember, it was a couple of days ago, there was an NBC News poll that had Trump up +4 amongst Latinos,
Hmm.
and Hillary had been winning by 27% in 2016. Well, they redid that poll, and there's a new poll that shows Biden is up by like 34% amongst Latinos. So that was an outlier. But in Donald Trump's world, it's time to panic. Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, North Carolina, Texas is on the edge. Florida may go over. It's time, obviously, for him to come out and start lying and lying on a massive scale. And the Washington Post put it this way: a festival of four Pinocchios.
Yeah.
Virtually everything he said was a mass of pathological lies. The man obviously can't tell his lies apart from reality.
Well, that's what it seemed like, Malcolm, that he is so used to us only, as you call them, sycophants
Ah,
Right.
I get it.
that are left, and Kool-Aid drinkers at his rallies, and yes people, and Fox News softball interviews, and Judge Janine, and he, you could tell he was befuddled by people
Real
that weren't
questions.
buying his
Yeah.
talking points and lies, and fact checked and did follow-up questions. I mean, he just seemed
Well,
completely, yeah,
MSNBC a few minutes ago ran the African American woman who said she would die within 72 hours if they pulled her health care
yeah,
out because she had pre-existing conditions. And he went into this whole tirade about how he has a health care
yeah,
program,
yeah.
how it's better than Obamacare, and how it protects pre-existing conditions. And George Stephanopoulos is there going, "No, you don't. I interviewed you about
Right.
this a year
Chris
ago."
Wallace interview. You said 2 weeks. You said
Hmm.
3 weeks. I got it all ready to go. I got it all ready to go, George. I mean, it's just
That's right.
it felt like, as I keep saying, Malcolm, it felt like the Emperor's clothes falling off live on TV. I mean, just normal people going,
The
"No,
problem is,
I heard you on tape. I heard you say you
yeah,
downplayed the
but it
virus."
only works on us and those voters who are just starting to wake up to this stuff. Let me tell you, speaking here from the Chiefs mess and Manskiff in my house, um, did you see the poll where 73% of the armed forces had heard that Trump called them losers and suckers?
I
And they said that they've never had that much saturation
have
in a
you
poll by the Army.
have you in your lifetime, Malcolm, seen a military poll where the Democrat is winning? I haven't. I mean, he's the Military Times poll. Biden's up 5 points in the
Never.
military vote.
And believe me, it's higher
Yeah.
because here's the kicker: most of those young junior guys who love Trump, who are the guys who are sustaining his mid 30s, they don't vote. I know. I've been around these guys. I've handed out voter registration stuff. We all talk about which state is coming. They don't vote. They're too busy, down at the bars on the weekend. The officer corps, on the other hand, which is overwhelmingly against Trump, and the senior enlisteds, oh, they vote. They vote seriously.
Oh my God! And Trump just called them warmongers. So, right? I love that he's reacting to insulting the military by insulting the military again.
Well, because they're liars.
And how about I mean, only you could have called that he actually put out an ad that says support the troops, to which I'm like, you first. But that they're not only MiG-29s, the soldiers are Russian models, and you called it. I mean, they're Russian planes and Russian soldiers in the ad. You're like, is he doing this on purpose to F with us?
This isn't the only time. They have MiG-29s in this one. And, you know, while everybody was focused on these MiG aircraft, I'm looking at the barrels of the rifles, and I go, those are AK-40 or AK-74s. Those are AKM rifles. Those are Russian Army issue rifles. Then we find out that they contacted the artist who did it, and he's Russian, and he goes, yeah, I did this. They used it. This is not the first time. It's the third time. They did Veterans Day. They did Memorial Day with a Russian Navy ship. I mean, oh my God.
By the way, I can't believe you let that slide that I called it an MiG. Like, I haven't seen Top Gun. I know it's a MiG. It's a MiG. Let me channel Kelly McGillis. Tell me about the MiG. Tell me more about what happened with the MiG.
MiG. That's what's going on.
The notorious MiG.
Now you can say that and be sincere.
You know, you also warn us again and again, Malcolm. You said on Twitter, Trump is not joking about a third term. Ignore it at your peril. That's the thing. It's like, as Michael Cohen said, he doesn't joke. He doesn't have a sense of humor. He's, you know, okay.
Let me tell you, if you guys haven't seen this morning's Morning Joe interview of Bob Woodward,
yeah,
they're going to be playing that on full run today, at least 20 minutes of every hour, because it is terrifying. He says straight up, Trump does not know the difference between his lies and reality.
No, somebody said Bob Woodward has seen a lot, and he seems rattled by what he's seen with Trump. Like, he seems legitimately rattled.
He says it's very clear to him that he doesn't know about he doesn't particularly care about the numbers of people dying. And as we said, hold on, here's another thing that I called, and I know I've said it on this show. I've said numerous times that we will probably find some documents indicating that there was a strategy and a plan to rely on herd immunity. It appears Trump just came out and said it last night.
Yeah.
What did he call it? Herd mentality. What a yutz. Yeah. No, this is dangerous. 3 to 5 million Americans will die if they do herd immunity.
Yeah.
It means, and we've seen the indicators of this as early as June and July, when they sort of threw their hands up and were relying either on a vaccine, or they kept saying, well, it'll just burn out or it'll just burn through. To do that, you must allow those people to die. And that's what they're going to do.
It means 60% of Americans.
Last night.
Yeah. Yeah. No, Malcolm, I tweeted about it a couple weeks ago. I was like, herd immunity? 3 million of us dead. That's the plan. I said, holy crap. The pilot is a terrorist, people. Let's roll. Like, we got to roll on November 3rd. This is not a joke. As you said, this statement is premeditated murder. He knew full well people were going to die horribly, and he didn't care. I mean,
He doesn't. That's another thing that was found out in the interview. He cares only about himself. We all know this, but we're now seeing it. And the only thing we haven't gotten on tape, and maybe, you know what? I don't think Woodward's done. I think he's got 18 hours of tapes, and I think he's going to prepare the big ones for much later, where, at some point Trump will probably say, I don't care about those people. They're minorities or whatever.
Right.
Who knows?
Right.
The problem is we have all predicted this. I'm not the Nostradamus here. We all see this with our own eyes. And we have all been called fools, liars, losers, conspiracy theorists, and fabulous because we enunciate what we see with our own eyes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the problem is the media is waiting for evidence of what we all see with our own eyes. This is not a game anymore. Woodward understands that, Woodward's in the can die from coronavirus age bracket also.
Yeah.
So, he's concerned about his wife, his children, his friends, his family. He's a human being.
Yeah.
But what I think the true revelation is that he is seeing now that this man, that Nixon, the man who he brought down, was nothing compared to Donald Trump.
By the way,
Donald Trump is a true megalomaniac.
yes, I was just going to say, do you think it was an accident that it's 18 hours when he had, it was 18 minutes?
Not 18 minutes.
Right?
No,
because he's probably like, no, you're going to
hours.
need 18 hours with Donald Trump because that's where we've come. That's where the
That's
Republican
right.
Party has come. That's where, right? You literally need 18 hours, not 18 minutes because
my takes are big league. They're more big league than Nixon. I don't go 18 minutes, 18 hours, by God, to the minute. You know, and he said that Trump would shout at him and they would get into shouting matches.
Yeah.
I want those tapes. And, you know, I'm sorry. I'm going to call it again. You know, what is it? Michael Bloomberg.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. And who's the other billionaire?
Tom Steyer.
Steyer.
Yeah, Tom Steyer. I don't know. These guys need to turn out commercials.
Yeah.
They need to turn out commercials showing that this man is a liar. And right now,
I don't know who.
It's a meta narrative for non-vote, for the people who are just getting interested to go pathological liar. Pathological liar.
Yeah. Well, I don't know who did the first one, Malcolm, but I saw it where you hear the Woodward tape and then they have tape of what he said in the same April whatever, him reopen, it's nothing, kids can't get it. And then, you know, so that, I think that is, you're right, deadly effective.
You know, another one was Steve Schmidt yesterday. Did you see him on Joy Reid last night? If you haven't, God, go watch that. He didn't rant. What he said, Joy asked him, she said, is there any person who has the stature, ... white person, who has the stature, who could speak to Trump voters to break them of this? And he essentially said, no, there's no one.
Yeah. Well, I said it, Malcolm. We are the ones we're waiting for, like those citizen journalists that stood up last night and said, no, I'm going to finish. And they did follow-up questions. I was looking at talking about like not repeating the 2016 mistakes. You saw this Turning Point. This right-wing group enlists teenagers in a troll farm, spreading coordinated pro-Trump messaging. So they're basically hiring the Russian troll farms, in addition to the actual Russian troll farms this time, to put out "Don't trust Dr. Fauci." The coronavirus death numbers are intentionally inflated. You know, the mail-in ballots will lead to vote fraud. 28 million ballots went missing in the last 4 elections. All these lies that they're paying kids to put out, right? As if they're actual young people in Arizona or wherever.
I started observing that there was a transition in 2018 away from Russian trolls and bots. Bots are automated. Trolls are actually people. Away from the Internet Research Agency. They're doing the themes, the meta-narratives. But that I said the Trump data team and his vigilantes. These guys were calling themselves Mike Flynn's Cyber Army. Now we know they're following Charlie Kirk. These are university students who are now professional trolls who are pushing themes. They have transitioned from the Russian Internet Research Agency to the Donald Trump, Internet Research Agency. It has all come full circle. Americans run Russia's operation now.
Yeah, and one last one. I want to get your take on Bill Barr because once again, full circle, Bill Barr rails against mail-in voting. Mm-hmm. I mean, we have the Attorney General of the United States that is doing Russian misinformation as well. He went off on Democrats over mob violence, mail-in voting. He said he went off on the resistance. He said there's many people in the government are working to thwart the administration. He said mob violence is another very disconcerting development. Went after Democrats in particular. The message seems to be of Democrats, no Biden or no peace. At one point, he was asked about the election. Barr said, as Attorney General, I'm not supposed to get into politics.
Oh, God.
Now a warning. And he said, I think we're getting into a position where we find ourselves irrevocably committed to a socialist path. And I think if Trump loses the election, that will be the case. He couldn't be more political. He is just an absolute political tool. And then he went off on mail-in voting, which there is no evidence for anything about that he's saying about mail-in voting.
I wrote 2 chapters about Bill Barr in the new version of The Plot to Betray America, where I had, remember the first version, I ended with the phrase that I had said on air, which was could the Attorney General of the United States be committing the greatest crime in American history by covering up the greatest crime in American history?
Yes.
Yes, and now he's gone way beyond that.
What?
He has decided he is the consigliere for Fredo. Okay?
And look, this is very dangerous, the last part, Malcolm. Listen to this. He said it'll be a close vote. People will say the president just won Nevada. Oh, wait a minute. We just discovered 100,000 ballots. Every vote will be counted. Yeah, but we don't know where these freaking votes came from. He's trying to set up that mail-in votes don't count.
Right.
I've warned you. I'm going to say it again. All right? The most dangerous period in American history will be from November 4th to January 20th. And I suspect that Bill Barr has already got into his mind that this election will be nullified. They're going to call it for Trump, and then they will use the power of, or the what he thinks is the power of the United States. You know what? I'm sorry to say it, but I think that he has given us our mantra for this. No Biden, no peace. If they cheat and they steal this election, and it's very obvious that Biden won, and they've just decided they're going to call it for themselves, fine.
Once again, Hillary is right. She said, do not concede. She said to Biden 2 weeks ago.
Do
not concede.
Nothing.
Yes.
No Biden.
Yep.
No
I mean, the DOJ just opened a criminal case against John Bolton. Here we go. This has turned into an instrument of punishing enemies and getting friends off. And
Bob Woodward said that that when Comey came in, Trump confirmed that the first thing that he asked was that he wanted Comey to go out and start arresting Trump administration people, that he said it was his first conversation.
Yep. All right, Malcolm, we're long as usual because I love you. Malcolm Nance. See you next week, honey.
Bye-bye.